Hi, this is Erin from BlossyB. Welcome to my channel. The plan for this video is to create some beautiful home decor pieces using AR400 arc liquid pigments and some moulds I recently purchased from TEMU. I absolutely could not wait to make up these moulds. This first one is a little birdhouse and a bird, and I'm just showing you there. I've got a plan. I want to use the truffle colour to make a really gorgeous pale sort of brown, like a wood creamy brown. And then I want to use the violet and the yellow to do the bird, and I'm going to use this creamy colour, not quite brown, but using that truffle to pour the little birdhouse on the right. So I've left the shots of the scales and you can see how much water I put in. So this is AR400, which is an eco casting compound or an acrylic resin that I purchased from Harry and Wilma in Australia. I get it in great big 10 kilo tubs. It's just wonderful. And I'm using the ARC liquid pigments from Just Resin to tint the Eco Casting Powder. Now the Eco Casting Powder I'm making up in a ratio of 3 parts powder to 1 part water, and that water can be tap water or is tap water. So that is a really great feature of this product. And I'm just adding now in a little bit more, because in the little birdhouse one on the left, I want to try and achieve, if I can, a sort of a more wooden effect. So the one on the right, I just wanted a beautiful consistent sort of cream, and then this one I wanted to see if I could get the tones of the darker colours as well as that cream base. So it's pouring in so beautifully, and I really don't want to have any overspill and too much cleanup. Not that there ever is with this product. It sands so easily, so worst case scenario, it's not difficult, but I am just trying to be super careful. Now, introducing puppy dog molds. So this is also from that same TEMU haul, and we've got a large and a small in these, and I don't have enough to pour any more than just maybe just under a centimetre thick. So I know they're not going to be perfect pieces, but it will give me an idea of what the mould is going to look like. And I needed to use up the AR400, so all good. Okay, my next batch, I mix a little bit differently. The first ones you saw, I actually put the liquid into the water because I wanted that really consistent colouring for the birdhouse on the right. This one, I've added the powder in and then stirred it, and now I'm going to decant just a little bit out into a smaller cup and add this beautiful bright yellow. And the idea is that this is going to be a bright flash of colour on this bird's tail and wing. So I'm just stirring that in, and I think, I'd like it just a little bit darker, so I'll pop just a little bit more in, give it a stir, and then I'm going to just carefully pour it, knowing that when I pour the next layer quite quickly, it will all start blending. If I wanted to keep the colours very distinct, I could actually let this either partially or fully cure. Or you could also build a little dam with using some, what do people use? Hot glue, things like that. So I'm really happy though that it's going to blend. It's not a problem at all. So the yellow tinted mixture that I didn't use goes straight into the white, and now I'm adding in this vibrant violet colour. So I'm going to be mixing the two together in a very rough marbling. I say rough because it's not very finessed, and I just want to make sure that I get the bulk of that heavy pigment colour moved around, and now I'm going to pour that in, and I'm loving the way it's just moving, and I'm going to get lots of different variations in it, hopefully. So that is my goal anyway, to make it look quite pretty. And I do have a little bit left over, so I'm going to use this mould that I've also purchased from TEMU, which is beautiful little roses. And I'm not sure how they're going to turn out because they are quite detailed. And then I'm going to have another go at this dreaded lid. If you've watched my previous videos, this is my 4th attempt. I've had no success in getting a perfect cast of this lid. Every single time it has a little piece missing. And I feel like I need to crack this code. What is the secret? So I'm making sure I swirl the mixture around inside the mould to coat the inside of the mould. I gave it plenty of tapping. You can just wait and see. That's all you can do, isn't it? Now, in the jar part, I don't have enough to fill it, but I'm going to just tip what I have got in there, knowing that I can come back to it later and fill it up. And apologies for my the film going in and out of focus a little bit here. I think my camera was really struggling with some of the finer details and, going backwards and forwards. So I do apologise for that bit of blurriness and out of focus. Okay, so I'm just putting in the last little bits of all the resin I had on the go, the Eco Acrylic Resin, and then I'll just let everything cure. I usually give everything about an hour, but you are able to demold after about 45 minutes. So, I am so nervous about this, and I'm looking, and I'm smiling, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I've done it. 4th time lucky, and it's beautiful. I'm not saying that every flower on the top is perfect, but the rim is, and that's what I was looking for. So I'm going to demold these beautiful roses, and I just love these. That blended mixture has just given me some lovely variations there. And I've got so many ideas running through my mind of what I could use these for. I was very impressed with the detail that the AR400 managed to pick up from these, and the majority were just perfect. So very happy with those little ones. Okay, so time now to demold my little puppy dogs. And remember, these were they were never going to be, perfect. These were quite a thin pour in a very thick mould. So I just wanted to see what they're going to look like and, see what happens. And the little puppy comes out and he's beautiful. It's a lovely shape, but Mummy had her tail snapped during the process, and I'm sorry I did that. But the material was very thin and I was obviously being a little bit rough. But we'll see what we can do with that. So I'll sit her down there and just give her the dignity of attaching the tail temporarily there. It's just like it never happened. And now to our first little birdhouse with the two lovebirds. And this one is that cream. And I wanted this one to come out really natural looking and earthy and all those beautiful things. And I am loving this mould. The detail is beautiful. The edges are crisp and clean. And look, it is so pretty. I'm so impressed with this. The colour is gorgeous. Yeah, just super happy with this. So now I'm going to demold the bird and the little birdhouse. These are nowhere near as elegant, I guess, as the cream ones that I've demolded, but I'm still very excited to see them. And here we go. And I got exactly the effect I was after with that timber sort of brown and cream look, and very, very happy with that. So now let's have a look at the bird, and it's so pretty. I'm loving it. I don't think though that I really thought it through that it was going to be patterned on one side, not on the other, but it would need to sit centrally into this. So I think if I'd been designing the mould, I probably would have tried to make that notch a little bit on an angle so that you had a definite front to the bird, but really happy with it. And that was meant to be the end of this video. But I loved it all so much, I want to do it all again. I want to give the dogs a chance, and I want to make sure that I pour them at the full thickness this time. So I'm using this beautiful aqua green colour, and I'm going to blend that with the water first. As I said, when I do that, I tend to find I get a much more consistent colour. And I want to do the little birdhouse that I did in cream last time in a really beautiful pale sort of a pastel mint green. And so that's what I'm going for with this. And that's why I'm using the method of tinting the water first, then adding in the Eco Casting Powder, stirring, and then you get that much more consistent colouring. So after carefully mixing it, and I'm really happy with the consistency of this and the colour, I'm going to use that smaller of the two birdhouse moulds first, and just nice and slowly pour this in. I was really happy with my first pours. I didn't have any extra work really. They were, yeah, because I went slowly and tried to work very cleanly and carefully, they came out beautiful. Okay, so I'm loving this palest of pale aqua green, looking great. And then I'm going to use this same mixture to pour the bird that goes into the little birdhouse, because I really want to see what it looks like when it's just one smooth, consistent colour all the way through. And so I'm not doing any marbling or any two colours or anything this time, just this beautiful solid pale green. And yeah, I'm so excited to see the difference. I'm not going to do another birdhouse at this stage because I'm really happy with that one, and this way I can have a look at the two birds in it and see which one I like the most. Okay, so just checking that I've got the right levels in there with everything. And now I'm going to add in some more of this aqua green, and you'll see that I put a couple of drops in, do that sort of rough marbling and pour that in, and then I don't have enough to do both and all. So I do make up another quick little batch and get that all done. So I'll pop this little bit just on a bit of a fast forward. And you'll see there I've got a little sticky note. I'm always taking notes of my pours. I keep the weights of products after they've cured for a couple of days or on demold. I keep notes of how much I made and how many drops I add, and it all goes to help build up a better picture for me if I want to try and work on a similar project in the future. So it's a really good way of making sure that you've got everything that you need in the right quantities. So yeah, and hopefully if you've got any of these moulds, you can pause and have a look, and that could help you. So demoulding time, and this rose mould just keeps giving, and the green in here is super pretty, and they're coming out just like a dream. So easy to demould, and I can't believe how much detail they're picking up, which is really lovely considering that it's a very fine mould. Now, can I demold our puppy dogs without doing a tail? I was going to say decapitation, wrong end. An accidental removal of a tail. And so the baby came out beautifully. I'm loving that really subtle marbling, and we'll sit him down. And then hopefully we get a mother that is intact. And I turned the mould over and she basically just fell out like that. So super happy. No broken tail for this one. And the AR400 cures super silky smooth and quite cold and no scent at all. It's just beautiful. I was just standing them up there to see what they look like in their perhaps final positions, and yeah, they're really lovely. I keep looking at the green flowers though, and I've got an idea in my head, so you might see that shortly. Now, here's our bird that I've done with just that one colour, and it is stunningly beautiful. It's even all the way through, super smooth, no bubbles, and very pretty. And here is the birdhouse from the previous pour, and they just sit in the notch there, and look at that, just gorgeous. And look, I'm really tempted to have a go in the future of using my laser engraver to engrave some detail in the other side too, but that's for another day. Okay, time to demold my little lovebirds, and I'm just so in love with this colour. I think that it gives such an elegant, stylish look, and very happy with it. So here we go. This is our lovebirds now in this beautiful pale aqua green, so almost like a really pastel mint, pale mint green, and just lovely. And again, the edges have come out beautifully crisp and clean. Speaking of clean, I always like to keep the workspace tidy if I can, because you do get little fragments. And remember I said I was looking at those roses and thinking, what do you think? A possibility? We could have cute little rose like collars or bows on the dogs, and we could have little cute roses attached to the birdhouse in different corners or in little opposite each other. I just have to think and figure out how to adhere them. And you've guessed it, I'm doing it all again. I'm just addicted. These moulds are just so beautiful to work with, and the results have made me so happy. And of course, the AR400 is such a beautiful product to work with, and you can, work so quite quickly. Demolding in an hour is amazing. The arc liquid pigments are dreamy. Why wouldn't I? So I've got my notes there, and this gives me a much better idea of what I need for each of the components. Now this time I've decided to go a little bit hippy dippy tie-dye marbled purple, just to see how that looks compared to the two more traditional colours that I did to start off with. And now it's time also to start topping up that little jar of our with the lid. Now I'm so sorry, I must have forgotten to record or lost it, the dogs, doing them in the purple marble, but it was just pretty straightforward. And with the little bit that I had left over, I'm just once again using this beautiful little rose mould, and hoping to get some lovely little purple roses to match these pieces as well. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how this colour goes, particularly in the little lovebirds in their little bird house. So we'll see how we go on demoulding. I'm really happy with this little jar. I know it's a little bit odd, but I've never poured the AR400 in 2 batches. And so this was kind of a proof of concept for my head too. And that's why it looks different from one to the other, because they were completely different colour batches. But it is very solid, and the layers work together beautifully. The roses came out just gorgeous again. So let's have a look at the puppy. And there's just a tiny little bit of overpour on the top. And look, it just has to be brushed with your finger and it comes off. So easy, so smooth and beautiful. And I'm loving the little purple one. And now we've got the large one, and I love the back of this one. And I'm now thinking, do they have to have a front and a back that's definitive? And how cute are the purple roses? Stop it. I haven't thought up yet a way of adhering them, bonding 2 lots of the AR400. So if anyone has done that before, bonded cured pieces, I'd love it if you left a comment below, or if you've seen someone do it on another video. I'd really like to learn from you. And here are our hippy dippy tie-dyed purple marbled lovebirds, and I think they're beautiful. I'm really happy with them. Now, what to do with our skinny mini mother dog? Some of you might not like this, but I am going to recycle her. I'm going to take my walnut cracking tool. I don't know if you've ever seen one like this. You pop the walnut into the bowl part and then screw in the handle and it cracks. It's great for that, but it's also really good for bashing, although I do swap over to the hammer, as you see here. So I'm just giving it lots and lots and lots of gentle taps and breaking it down into smaller chunks, and just keeping it all contained in this plastic bag as much as possible. But of course some dust does come through. And then I've got a cup of super chunky terrazzo chips. So what I'm doing now is I'm measuring the weight of the one of the successful ones. So I now know I've measured the weight of the chips and the weight, and taken that away from the total weight of a previous one. So I know pretty much exactly how much I need to work with. This is very experimental for me, and I have no idea at this point whether this is going to work or not. So I'm pouring in a thin couple of maybe 3 or 4 ml base of this mixture, and then I'm just literally tipping in all of the chunks of the previous incarnation of the dog before I took the hammer to her. And yes, I do feel a little bit guilty, but she's still there in spirit, isn't she? So I'm just going through and roughly pushing that down with my fingers, and I know that there are going to be lots and lots and lots of air gaps in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly pour in the remaining mixture, and then I'm going to take just a little disposable mini paddle pop stick, and I'm going to sort of jiggle, wiggle, poke, move, and do everything I can to try and force as much of that mixture down in amongst all of these little chunks. And it's quite amazing, some of the big bubbles that come up during this process. That was actually very rewarding. As I said, this is completely experimental. I don't know whether it's going to work or not. It's not something that I would ever probably give to anyone else. It's just for my own satisfaction of knowing whether I can do this. Normally when you use a terrazzo chip that you've made style, they're very thin. These were chunky. But look, it's looking good. I have a tiny little bit left over, so I get some of these beautiful little roses again, which I'm always really happy about since they've pretty much come out perfect every single time. And after a little cleanup, I'm happy to sit this one aside to cure. So I'm pretty confident the roses are going to be beautiful because they all have been. And I am a little bit nervous about how this dog is going to go because he is full of chunks. He, she, they are full of chunks of their previous, as I said, incarnation. So demolding, and I'm loving the back actually. It looks great. When I saw that little bit fly out there, I thought it was going to be a tail or a foot. Oh, I was like, not again. But no, it was just a teeny tiny little bit of cured AR400. So nothing too desperate there. So now I'm just using a nail file and going over just to take off the absolute tip of some of those chunks. There's very few that I didn't manage to sort of bury down in there, and I was more focusing on recycling the material in this experiment than getting a terrazzo look. So I was very happy with how deep they were able to go, and look, I think it looks beautiful. From the front, you wouldn't know any different. From the back, gorgeous. Okay, this is 3 days later. All of the pieces have been sitting, curing, and they have now reached a much greater strength than when they were first demolded. AR400, and in fact, I think most eco style casting powders on demold are quite soft and can be easily broken. You do need to set them aside to cure over several days preferably, and I certainly would not wax or do any other embellishments with pieces that I hadn't set aside for quite a long time. You're adding water into this, and with some brands you just have a liquid component, and that needs to evaporate, and the bonding is still strengthening over those couple of days. So I can't emphasize that enough. If you make and sell acrylic resin pieces, please make sure that you cure them properly. So what I'm doing, I'm using the beautiful Bua Nicole Sealer Wax, which is a beeswax mixture. It's food safe, very gentle, and it is going to protect these pieces. However, if I was going to sell these pieces, or if I was going to gift them to someone, I would add a little note that suggested strongly that they were just for indoor use. I could see, and in fact you will see in a minute, it's so tempting to think, oh, these would look lovely outside. I'm personally not confident enough with my pieces and sealing them that I would be 100% happy to have them outside. Having said that, I think that is an experiment I need to do because, people might want to have pieces outside. So I will keep that in the back of my mind for the future. Here are our gorgeous 3 dogs, the larger ones, and I'm going to go ahead and do exactly the same with them. And as I'm working with these ones, I realise that this is almost like just a 2-sided mould. Often you'll get moulds that upon demould, they have an absolute front and an absolute back. Like, for example, the small bird houses I was just demoulding a moment ago and the birds that I'm about to. But these, honestly, if you give the back a light sand and you've worked cleanly and you've, got really smooth edges, they look amazing front and back. So they're very 3D. And I love that about these moulds. I think that opens up a whole world of possibilities as well. Okay, so now it's time for the smaller ones, and exactly the same with these. They look brilliant front and back. They do have teeny tiny little areas, obviously where the legs are there, but I do go in with my buffing cloth after applying the beeswax, and I shimmy in those areas and make sure that there's no excess product sitting there, and they are just feeling beautiful. And this process always makes me feel very connected to my work because you're handling it all and it just feels very therapeutic. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the birdhouse and the birds. Now, I did wax these, but I didn't film it, I'm sorry. So they are looking so pretty though, and I'm really happy with how they've come up. This is, as I was saying, an example of a mould that has a definite front and a back. So, as are the little roses too. So I was just showing you there. This is the dragonfly glaze, and was very interested to hear wonderful feedback from some of my subscribers about their use of the dragonfly glaze. So I was really keen to have another go with it. Now in this video, I'm only going to do one coat because I'm not yet entirely sure what I'm going to end up doing with these pieces. So I didn't want to put anything on the base of them in case I'm going to bond them to, well, I really want to bond them, so I'm relying on you out there watching this to help me come up with a solution for that bonding. How do I bond these to other eco resin pieces? So I'm just giving them a really lovely little coat of the dragonfly glaze on the top, and then after I know what I'm doing with them, I can seal them further if needed, or do something else with them. But the pot just comes up beautifully with the dragonfly glaze on it, as did that lid with all the details. So yeah, and I know, look, as I said, the pot looks a bit funny because it's got that little yellowy sort of streak through, but I'm just so happy that I've worked out I can partly pour something and then finish pouring it later. I'll have to try a larger item next just to see if that's true with a larger volume. So just going to go through and finishing off all these little pieces. I'm just loving that I've got the 3 colours and that they're all pretty much perfect. And yeah, I really am so happy with these moulds. I would highly recommend them. If you would like details of them, please go back to my TEMU unboxing video, part 1. And I will, of course, put the link in the description box below. And you'll be able to see how much I paid for these moulds and get a link to them for yourself if you're interested. And just before I finished, I decided to do all of the inside of that one as well. Now, these little birdhouses I thought would look rather gorgeous with some chunky twine. So I'm just going to thread that through, snip off and tie a knot, and then I think it gives that real appearance of a little birdhouse that you might see hanging in a tree. And I think that they, even though I think that the pour of the cream and the green, and to some extent the purple too, are very sort of elegant, I really think that the string looks lovely with them. Really happy with this. I guess I could try ribbon or other things in the future, but at the moment I thought these looked great. And so I do all 3 the same, and then after I've done these, I'm going to go and grab the other 2 birds and the birdhouse. And the birdhouse has also got a hole that it can have string through, and I'm doing exactly the same with this one. Now, all throughout this video, you will only ever see me sitting the notch of the bird into the notch of the birdhouse. I haven't fixed it at all, so I've been very careful when I'm carrying it around, but I'm assuming that if you were going to gift or sell this, you would probably want to attach it. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe if you've got this mould or if you've had something similar, you could let me know what you think. Just wouldn't want it to get dislodged and fall. So thank you so much for joining me on this little crafting adventure. As I said, I really only ever planned to make one of each. But then I got a little bit carried away and I ended up with quite a lot of items. It was such a beautiful day, I decided to take them out and hang them in the lemon tree just so I could get an idea of what they would look like and how they move. And they were just so pretty. And from, yeah, just those moulds, I can't believe I made 3 of these. I couldn't stop myself. They just turned out so beautifully. And then here is the little purple and yellow bird hanging there beautifully. And then I've got the little green bird as well, just so you can see what he looked like. Please stay watching to the end and you can get to see all of the makes. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.